Of course, though, there's the Jalen Hurts aspect to all this. He didn't play well enough this year. We know it. He went backwards from last year. How much blame Sirianni gets? Well, that's up to you. But maybe it's actually helping Sirianni keep the job here. Maybe Hurts' decline. It's like, well, what is he supposed to do? The defense, we didn't build a good enough one, and Hurts went backwards. Couple articles this weekend we can't ignore, and I do feel like I'm in a time machine. Just like, here we are again, reading a Joe Santoliquito article about an Eagles quarterback that went backwards. It's unbelievable. So over at Bleeding Green Nation, Joe wrote a piece on the demise of the 2023 Eagles. Like, what went wrong?
The demise.
It always was the demise. Some was about coaching, some about defense, personnel, but the strong part, Hugh, of this article was about Jalen Hurts. And I'm gonna just bring up some things that were in this article by Joe over at Bleeding Green Nation. Here it is. Ready? One team source, this is a quote from the article, said Hurts audibled and freelanced more frequently late in the season, and that he and Johnson really seem to be on the same page. Okay, so that was from Ralph Vacchiano. Now, let's go to the stuff from Joe Santoliquito. Sources within and around the team say Jalen Hurts, quote, changed since signing the big contract extension. His accessibility to media, fans, teammates had been limited. He became less accessible this season, according to numerous sources. His popularity was hot, it went on to talk about, and the Eagles try to protect him, as they do with Carson Wentz. Sources close to and around the team, this is all from the article, say Hurts should have been a better leader and is capable of being a better leader. He shuts himself off from others and defers to A.J. Brown to kind of be the spokesperson. One source on the team described Hurts as a, quote, good dude who sometimes does not realize the times he's acting like a prima donna, quote, expletive.
What's the what expletive do you think that was in there?
Well, it does say
it
does say in the parentheses we'll use the word jerk. So you can.
Yeah, we also have FCC regulations.
Yeah, we do.
So
I'm
can't
just
really
saying.
speculate.
I didn't say say the word, but you know when you hear that, because I had a word in mind, and I just was curious to what everybody else's word was. Like you ain't got to say the word, but
everybody has one that pops into their head.
Yeah, because I had one that popped in my head, and it's female dog. Like that was the one that popped in my head.
So prima donna, that's you think.
Yeah, that's what that female dog.
Yeah, that could fit. That's kind of that's strong to say.
It's
about
real strong.
Your leader, your
but
teammate.
You know he's a good dude, but he's acting like a female dog.
Mine had something to do with an orifice.
Okay. Oh, that could work. Yeah.
Butt cheeks surrounded by it.
Something. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Bungholitis.
There
you go. Yeah. We could read between the lines.
Here are some words that were part of this article by Joe Santoliquito. Quotes from from at least a source, right? And these I could say on the air. Quote: detached, stoic, isolated, unapproachable. Apparently, they would invite him to functions and he would wave off his teammates.
You know what we call that?
What's
when
that?
They do that? We call it he got brand new.
Oh, no, you don't want to get brand new.
He got brand new on him. See, and that's the thing that bothers me about this, because that was not the brand that I was sold when I got here. You know what I mean? And I know there are going to be a lot of Jalen Hurts apologists, but before you jump all over me, just follow me for like 2 seconds. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That's just like somebody that say for instance, a bad analogy. Your girlfriend, say you met somebody and you and her are dating and it's going well, and she sold you that she was one way. And so when you really got committed to this person and you decided to, go all the way with this person, you all of a sudden find out she's totally opposite, or she acts totally different than what she sold you that she was. That's a tough pill to swallow for anybody.
Of course it is. Of course.
Because especially, and think about it like this. Think about what every quarterback that, like for me personally, that has ever been. Most quarterbacks are real standoffish, which is okay. And they're individuals, which is okay, because you learn how to work around that. You do as a player. You know that when it goes great, quarterback's going to get all the accolades like he always does. And when it goes bad, he's going to get all the blame. You know that. And quarterbacks, for the most part, they really don't interact with anybody outside of the offensive line and the receivers. You know that. But the problem that I had, and this is where I was sold on Jalen, was the fact that talking about him, you always heard stories about him working out with the offensive lineman, how he was always interactive with the defensive line. Like he crossed all lines when it came to interacting with everybody. Mm-hmm. So when you're a player and you're on a team and you see a quarterback doing that, and even in high school, you know exactly what I'm talking about, the high school ballers that didn't play in the NFL respectfully and all that other stuff. You know what I'm talking about. When that guy interacts with you, it's a different feel. You feel – that's why when you see quarterbacks that do that, they don't sit – when they get hit, their offensive line get upset. Their receivers get upset. They going around, they swinging on cats for trying to hurt their quarterback. When you have a guy that presented himself one way and then became something else, that's a hurting feeling, man, because you feel like he was not being genuine. The one thing that you always have to be at any level of professional sports is real. You have to be genuine, a genuine person. And if you come off as a guy, especially after the fact that you got paid all that money and now you're acting brand new, that resonates with your team, and everybody looking at you sideways now. Everybody look at you a little different then.
Of course they are. So a couple extra things from this article. And by the way, before we get the Hurts apologist, and I am not out on Hurts, and
I'm not either.
Yeah,
I'm not.
But I look, we all have either our antennas are up about Hurts, his future, his injuries, all that. But let's not pretend like we did this 5 years ago. And the guy who wrote the article today, 5 years ago, everyone said this was made up and make-believe. Obviously, it's not. It wasn't. And let's not do that this time. Like, let's just take it for what it is. There are quotes in here and sources. It doesn't mean Jalen Hurts is going to flop. It doesn't mean that. But let's not pretend that this stuff – his teammates are talking. Like, that's a thing, okay? A couple other things from the article. According to Joe, he re-injured his knee in Week 9. Remember the play before halftime against the Cowboys where his knee got crunched up?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the play that is referenced in the article. And then this one, in terms of a criticism on the field, Hugh, part of the story talks about how he failed to get the ball out fast enough. And that was kind of the most constant on-field criticism. Because most of this is about off the field, right? Like leadership, locker room, personality. But the on-field criticism in this article by Joe Sanliquido over at Bleeding Green Nation, failed to get the ball out fast enough. I mean, that we all saw that with our own eyes.
Yeah. And you know what? Early on, I thought it was one where he was just trying to make the play and everything. But you got to, like, in order to keep offenses off balance, you have to have a couple different cadences, a couple different rhythms that you have. I remember early on, like when the game would start for us when I was playing in Philly, a lot of times the ball would come out quick, and coach used to tell you, hey, just keep pass rushing. Because number one, what it does, if you get into a rhythm where you're throwing the ball quick, it lulls the defensive lineman into a sense of security, a false sense of security, where they might stop pass rushing because the ball's gone quick or whatever. So when you do go drop back and throw those deep passes, you help your offensive lineman out, because that defensive lineman might look at it and be like, oh, the ball's coming out quick. And when it doesn't, if you do it with the play action and it doesn't, now you have the chance for that offensive lineman to set up and block him a little bit longer, instead of just dropping back deep all the time. That's why when people say the offense is predictable, I don't necessarily subscribe to that. But there are certain nuances during the course of the game where if you do things the same way and then all of a sudden you change it, it could give you a great advantage.
Yeah, you know what the big striking difference for me, 2021 to 2022 to 2023 Hurts, his just quick decision-making. 2021, he held the ball a lot, and I think we gave him a break because he didn't have anyone to throw to besides Devontae. Like, there was no other good receiver. Last year, I thought he made really quick decisions. Keep it, hand it off, throw it, run. I mean, he almost had an idea of what he was going to do before the play and did it, and it was decisive. This year, wasn't decisive. He would hold the ball, end up running towards out of bounds, take a sack, or throw it away. I mean, that's got to change here. 215-592-9494. Your reaction to this Hurts stuff, and are you okay with Sirianni back with 2 new quarters? One last thing, Hugh, and then we'll go to the phone lines. In the Fox Sports article, Ralph Facciano, he wrote that Hurts and Brian Johnson were rarely on the same page last season.
That blows my mind.
So it's not just the Sirianni factor, right? It's also Hurts and maybe his own guy, an offensive coordinator, not on the same page. A lot going on here.
I do not understand that, because going into this, when we heard about Coach Johnson being the guy, we were sold to Billy Goods. Oh, they know each other. They've been knowing each other forever. So maybe he got brand new on the coach. And if that is the case, then for me, Coach Johnson's not off the hook either. He's not. If you allow Coach Johnson, if you allow him to do that, then you're just as much at fault as Jalen is.
So do you think, let's add all this together, do you think that part of the reason they may keep Sirianni is because they blame this more on Hurts?
Yes. That's why I said that we have to get more information. We just have to get more information.
Yeah, we do. In a lot of ways, I need more info. All right, 215-592-9494. I don't. You know what I need? I need a new coach. That's what I need.
No, I mean,
you can get the info.
Listen, you've been resigned to that.
I'm not resigned.
I want to fix the problem. I want to get down to the nitty-gritty.
Well,
why did this thing go as bad as it did?
How about a new coach to get Hurts back on the right track?
And who's to say that with the new coach we still don't have the same problem?
You know what? We may, but then at least we have a new variable. Then I'm like, all right, it's two coaches now. It's the quarterback.
It's like my electrical problem analogy. You got to go through the house and see what the problem is.
No, I need a new electrician.
You just want to go get a new electrical box and be like, oh, let's just call it a day.
Yeah,
no,
let's fix the problem.
No, we got to fix it with it. We got to go through the proper channels, man.
All right, 215-592-9494. Let's get back to the phones. Your reaction to all these Hurts stories, including it's unbelievable. It's deja vu. 5 years later, we're doing the San Liquido piece about the quarterback.